No, the ayes have it. The question now is that vote defence stand part of the schedules. I call the honourable member N. Lees-Galloway.
Thank you very much, Mr Chair. I begin my contribution this evening by acknowledging the service and sacrifice of Lance Corporals Prali Dara and Rory Malone, and also acknowledging their families who have lost a son, a brother, a nephew, a partner, and who have given up their loved ones in the service of this nation. I think we should all be mindful of that as we carry through this debate this evening. Mr Chair, the government promised New Zealand that the Defence Force under National would be able to do more with less. But all that the Minister of Defence, Jonathan Coleman, has achieved is to drive down the morale within our armed forces to the lowest level it has ever been. There are more of our Defence Force personnel lining up to leave today than there ever have before. Engagement is trending downwards day after day, and it's not just getting worse, it's getting worse at a faster rate now than it has at any point before. So whilst this government has presided over 2 years of mismanagement of the Defence Forces, they have not even been able to tidy up their act. It is getting worse now than it has ever been getting before. And Mr Chair, there are a number of reasons for this, but there are two that we can probably point to. One is the terribly mismanaged process of civilianisation that this government foisted upon the Defence Forces, and which they now accept was an absolute failure. In fact, the second round of civilianisation will not go ahead because it has had such a detrimental impact on our Defence Forces. The second reason for such poor morale in our Defence Forces is the 4-year wage freeze that has occurred under this national government. Mr Chair, there is no wonder that the personnel are lining up to leave. In fact, they're leaving at such a rate that there are 1,000 fewer personnel in the Defence Forces today than there were 2 years ago. Now, that is not intentional. The government did not intend for there to be 1,000 fewer personnel in the Defence Forces than there were 2 years ago. This is a direct reflection of the absolute mismanagement from this government of our Defence Forces, and so skilled personnel are walking away from our Defence Force because the Minister, Jonathan Coleman, has made such a hash of his job. Those people are walking away, and although we have new people coming on board, the Defence Forces are losing those skills, Mr Chair. Mr Chair, it's got so bad that the attrition rate in the Navy is at 22.3%. Because of that, we can't put our inshore patrol vessels to sea. How ridiculous is that we have new equipment tied up at Devonport, unable to be put to sea because we don't have the crew to get them out doing their job, patrolling our exclusive economic zone. Members of the SAS are lining up to leave. Our most important ground forces, our most specialised ground forces, we are losing those skills as well. And I can tell you what, Mr Chair, those personnel are deeply unhappy with our Minister because he said that, look, they've just got to get over it. He said, but you've got to remember, you've got guys in there who have been there 25, 30 years. They've been used to a job-for-life culture. The reality is the NZDF has to come in line with the rest of the world. It was that line, that the NZDF has a job-for-life culture, that went down like a cup of cold sick amongst our Defence Force personnel, and they have reacted against our Minister by lining up to leave. It's not a job for life. It is a calling. It is service. In the name of our nation, we send our men and women overseas, sometimes, Mr Chair, to die serving our nation, and the Minister had the gall to call it a job-for-life attitude. One member of the Defence Forces put it to me like this. He said, look, We have no employment protections. We don't fall under the Employment Relations Act. We've got no bargaining. We've got no unions. We serve our nation, and we expect our nation to reciprocate that service, to acknowledge that service. But instead, we have a minister who thinks the Defence Force is just a job for life.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, for the opportunity to